Hi there, it's Nicole for Simon Says Stamp with a card showcasing the August 2016 card kit. This is a Galaxy Sky strip that I created with stamps from the kit, plus I have used cardstock from the kit and the chipped sapphire little mini distress ink pad. To create this strip, I first trimmed down some of the white cardstock in the kit. This is a smooth cardstock. And then I'm going to use a bunch of the stamps from the stamp set included in the kit, also available for individual purchase. And I am going to create this strip. I purposely left the paper or the cardstock much taller than what I actually need. I'm stamping along that bottom edge there, but that way it gives me a little room to play, a little room to move around, and I don't have to keep it at a particular height if I don't want to. It is 5.5 inches wide. And as I tip up the cardstock, you can kind of see the design. It's really hard to see straight on since it's white on white. When I get to adding the distress inks, you're going to have a little bit of that embossed resist and everything's going to pop. Before I get too much further, I added those larger constellations. I'm going to add a greeting there. I also want to add an additional greeting, and I thought I might try to fit it on the front, but I decided I'm going to use that on the inside instead, and I'll show that near the end of the video. To fill in any of those quote-unquote white areas, it's all kind of white right now, but that white space, I am using some of these smaller star images from the stamp set. Again, working with only 1 or 2 images at a time before I add any more stamping. I don't want anything to overlap here. And that smallest constellation, I am using it several times as well. It's a great little filler piece. Once I have all of my images stamped, I'm going to take the heat tool and I'm going to heat this up. You can see it start to melt there. Going to keep it moving so I don't scorch my paper. I did heat up my heat tool really good before I brought it to the cardstock. That helps with less warping of the paper. Once I have everything heat embossed, I'm going to grab the chipped sapphire little mini distress ink pad from the kit and an ink blending tool, and I'm going to apply a little bit of that color. I'm also going to use some Blueprint Sketch and Seedless Preserves inks from my stash. And I'm going to go ahead and place that Blueprint Sketch right over those largest images. And then I'm simply going to work in the Seedless Preserves and chipped sapphire. Gives a nice, it'll blend really nice. At first, it looks kind of messy. As I pull in more color and more color, I'm going to work really hard to blend for a seamless transition. So I'll go back with Seedless Preserves and kind of work that in. Go back in with Blueprint Sketch, work that into the neighboring chipped sapphire and Seedless Preserves until I get it looking the way I want it to look. I'm going to make sure I get it enough color added along that top edge. I am going to trim that down once I finish it up, but I don't want any white space showing along that top edge. Then I'm going to take the Distress Sprayer and spritz this with water. It's going to react a lot differently than watercolor cardstock does. Instead of really wicking away the color a ton, it's instead going to just kind of lighten some areas and give it just some nice distressing. It's not going to be real harsh. Once that's dry, I am going to trim down my strip to 2.5 inches tall, and there's what that looks like. So really pretty bright white images against that distress inked background. I've got a side fold card base here. And you could definitely just put this strip directly on your card, but I decided to do a little dimension here. So I'm going to create 2 panels, one for above the print or the distress inked and stamped strip and one below. And on both of these strips, I'm going to be placing those kind of on top. So the strip I stamped and distress inked is going to actually be adhered directly to the card base. And these two strips have foam behind them, foam adhesive. So they are going to be the dimension. I'm going to take some of that navy cardstock from the kit, trim it down to about 1/8 of an inch strips, and glue it in place along both edges. That's just going to help frame up my decorative strip. Once that glue is completely dry, you can go ahead and just flip it over and snip off those ends. I recommend letting it dry a little bit more than I did because it will definitely cut a lot easier. Then I'm going to take some of these pigment-based inks. These are the starry colors, metallic colors, and I originally kind of started to do that, and then I decided I didn't want any of those inks getting on the white or navy strips there along the top and the bottom. And I'm going to make sure it's really good and wet, and I'm using a small tip paintbrush and flicking that all over my galaxy sky. It's going to give some really pretty white metallic flecks all over this strip. Once I have that done, I'm going to clean my paintbrush really good. I'm going to take some black soot distress paint, put it on an acrylic block, water it down with some water, and then flick that all over the surface of my design too. Just really adds to that whole galaxy look and appeal and adds a lot of fun and interest to that strip. Once I have that done, I can go ahead and rinse out my paintbrush, set that aside to dry. I can remove my Post-it tape, and that's protected both that top and bottom area. Really looks pretty. I love how the galaxy looks there. And then I will go ahead and add my remaining stamped greeting, another greeting from that stamp set included in the kit. Ink that up with some black ink from Simon Says Stamp and stamp that right in the middle of the card. So I love the sentiments included in this stamp set. Thanks for watching this video showcasing the Simon Says Stamp August 2016 card kit. The supplies I've used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more cards showcasing Simon Says Stamp card kits. Please subscribe for weekly card making and stamping videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.